Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we've got a local celebrity with us, a long-time radio star, Jim McDermott, who is a former owner and general manager of Spirit FM. Most everybody have heard of Spirit FM. And so how long were you owner and operator of Spirit? 1985, I think, is when you started, right?
Started in 1985, and I actually started working for the radio station in January. It took us till September to get it built, but during that year of 1985, we finally got on the air September 2nd, 1985.
And it was slow getting started, right? Were there some months in there where you didn't think you were going to make it, or just hanging on by the skin of your teeth?
We actually had a lot of engineering issues at the beginning with a very old, worn-out transmitter. And we were having to pay this engineer to drive all the way up here from Cape Girardeau. And most of the money we had was going into his pocket. And we... Alice and I didn't even take a salary for about 6 weeks. And we finally had to borrow money from a friend here in town who helped us out. I don't think he ever expected to get paid back, but we did pay him back after about a year and a half. And that got us over the hump a little bit. And then, like I said, we attracted and started getting some good help with some people that have gone on from this station to much bigger things. Hired a young man from up here around Cameron, who later on became head of a major network all over the country. Hired a girl from Fort Leonard Wood, Lisa Williams, who is probably the best Christian female DJ in the country. And she works for Northwestern Media, which is the new owners of Spirit FM.
Wow, okay. So it's kind of still all in the family there. And you know, you do so many amazing things, and I'm friends with you on Facebook, so I see a lot of these pictures, you know, and stuff like that. Like, you have been running marathons and doing triathlons and stuff like that for what, about 10, 15 years, something like that?
Yeah, I think I'm in year 14, I think, at this point. I just started, you know, I woke up on January 3rd of 2006. And I was 203 pounds on my little short 5'7" frame. And I just kind of looked in the mirror and I said, no, you're not going to be like your dad. Because my dad was short and he was round. And I decided to start losing weight, started working out, riding inside, you know, stationary bikes. And I reached a plateau. And so in order to get over that, I just decided, well, I think I'll run. And I went outside. It was a beautiful day in April. This was at about 2010. And I ran outside for a mile, and it was okay. I went out and did 2 miles the next day, ran a 5K on that weekend. And just kept running. And eventually started running a lot of 5Ks and half marathons, decided to do a whole marathon in Springfield. And now I've done 28 marathons. And I don't know how many half marathons, 60 some. But the best thing I did, some crazy friends I had up in Warrensburg convinced me that I could do a triathlon. This was in 2011, I think. And I went up there and did that, and I loved it. I loved the running, the biking, and the swimming all in one day. And so I started doing a lot of those.
And you were about 60 at the time, right?
And eventually I started branching out and doing the longer ones. And at 62, I think it was, I asked a guy a question, is this too old for me to do a full Ironman? And he said, no. And so I did my first Ironman in 2015.
That's crazy. So how long, in an Ironman, how far do you have to run, swim, and bike?
You swim 2.4 miles, you bike 112, and then you run a full marathon after that.
Unbelievable. And you enjoyed that.
Until you get to about the last 10 miles,
Shoot.
You enjoy it till about the end. But yeah, I did my first one in Louisville, Kentucky, and then I did one in Texas, just north of Houston, and the last one I did was in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Back in 2019. Wow. So
okay. So we're talking to the man, the myth, the legend here. And you can see why. It's Jim McDermott, former owner and general manager of Spirit FM. He's the guy that got it all started in 1985. You actually met Billy Graham. What was that like? I mean, this is Billy Graham.
I know. I was in seminary at the time in Louisville.
Okay.
And I was working in the audiovisual department. And one of my jobs was to go through the classrooms and make sure all the overhead projectors were working and all that kind of stuff. When I had a storage room downstairs, I found this box that I didn't know what it was. I opened it up and it had these little reels of wire.
Uh-huh.
And I figured out that it was a wire recorder. It was an old wire recorder before they made magnetic tape.
Yeah, before the days of 8 tracks and cassette tapes and stuff like that, yeah.
And I put it in there and I played it back, and it was Billy Graham preaching from Southern California in some of his early sermons. Well, they decided to open up a Billy Graham museum room in the library at Southern Seminary there, and I got to present that wire recorder to him.
Really?
In that ceremony.
So he came there.
He came there. And I presented it to him as an exhibit for the museum.
Right.
For the Billy Graham
Did you get a
Museum.
chance to like chat with him, talk with him?
Not really. I shook hands and he said, "Hi, Jim." That was enough. He had me at "Hi, Jim." You know?
Oh my goodness, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was one of my special experiences that I had in seminary, and those kind of things shape you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
And the interesting thing is Northwestern Media, which has taken over Spirit FM.
Right.
They were started by Billy Graham.
Really?
And they still have that their number one mission is to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Right.
It all goes back to day one.
And it's never been more important than it is now.
Oh, you're right.
So we're talking with Jim McDermott, former owner, general manager, founder of Spirit FM. He's moved on to some bigger and better things, and we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center offers 3 OBGYNs at the Osage Beach Clinic and 2 pediatricians with same-day appointments available. At COMC, our doors are open to everyone with 5 primary care locations conveniently located across the Ozarks. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Hey, be sure to join us for a special encore showing. We're here at Osage, home of the Indians, and we've got a game between Osage and Hallsville from earlier this year, Friday night, 7:32. It's a special encore showing. Again, that's Friday night, 7:32.
This is high school basketball on Lake TV.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, talking with our friend Jim McDermott. He used to be the owner and general manager of Spirit FM for a long time, like 40 years?
39.
39, okay, almost 40 years. But he has recently sold that, moved on from that, started up a new ministry.
Yep.
Okay, and this is Connect Media Ministries. What is Connect Media Ministries?
Well, our goal is to help smaller organizations, be it churches or smaller radio stations that don't have the resources to buy the equipment that they really need to just be on par with everybody else.
Right.
I mean, you take a church these days, if you're not streaming on a 4K camera, it looks pretty dull
Right.
for for your stream. If you don't have a digital control board and those kind of things. A lot of radio stations don't have the money to buy a good automation system to run the whole station.
Yeah.
Or they don't, again, they might not have a digital control board. They might not have a processor that makes them sound as good as everybody else on the dial.
Yep.
Those things cost a lot of money. That's what Connect Media Ministries wants to do. We want to come in through a grant process and provide the money that they need to be competitive and to be the same quality as everybody else on the dial.
That is such an important thing today. That's going to be a huge ministry, I think. That's very needed.
I know of so many smaller stations that just don't have anything, and they don't have the people to provide that money for them either.
Yeah. Okay, so when you started Spirit FM 1985, it was hand to mouth. I mean, you guys barely got by.
We built the entire station for $21,000.
$21,000. And you didn't give yourself a salary for several months. You needed some help from friends to help you get by. Going through all of that, you couldn't have gone through all of that without a pretty good wife, a pretty special lady. And your wife's name is Alice,
It
right?
is, Alice.
What has she meant to you in this journey you've been on for the last 40, 50 years?
I'm glad you asked that, because really she deserves as much credit as I do for the success of the radio station. Alice has controlled the finances, taken care of the finances of the station all these years. And she's the one that has been able to figure out the way to pay the bills and make sure everything happens. But she also has been instrumental in terms of giving us a vision of where they ought to be.
Yeah.
She grew up in this area. Her father was a vice president of a First National Bank for many, many years. And so she kept track of the finances to the point of, hey, yeah, you have the money to spend on this, but not on this.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to wait. You got to wait. You know, I'm always wanting to jump in ahead and do everything all at once, but she holds me back, and we do things in the right order, and that's been very important.
Absolutely, but it says something to your relationship that you guys were able to do that and still get along, right? Because some relationships can't handle that, right?
Well, and we tried to avoid the credit thing. There was a point in there where we borrowed some money to buy some radio stations.
Yeah.
But we got it all paid off, and we said, nope, not ever again. And everything now is on a cash basis, and that makes a big difference too. And she was very instrumental in making sure that happened.
Goodness gracious. You actually are an ordained minister, I believe.
I am.
Did you think at some point you were going to be a church minister and not a radio guy?
You know, no, I never ever planned to work in a church. I knew I was called to the ministry, but this has been my ministry.
Right.
This is. I get to talk to more people than any pastor in the state of Missouri on a weekly basis.
Which is pretty amazing when you think about it. But it's true because of the power of radio.
Yeah. We talk to 100,000 people a week.
Yeah.
At Spirit FM.
Yeah.
Over a week's time. And I don't know if any other minister gets to do that. So that's kind of cool.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've moved on from Spirit FM. It's Connect Media Ministries. You're helping some churches in some situations, some radio stations in some situations to get the equipment they need in order to minister.
Well, and the cool part is I've been doing this now for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of experience in how to operate frugally.
Yeah.
But also, I know the engineering side of it because I do the engineering. I know which piece of equipment would be the best to help this particular station or whatever, this church, do what they need to do better.
And there's not a whole lot of people that know that.
Yeah.
And you do.
That helps in the sense that I know how to run the station, but I also know how to engineer it.
Right.
And that's where I think God is just using my special talents and the things that I've developed to help more than just this station or the station we had here at the lake.
Yeah.
Be able to branch out and help many, many others.
Okay, so Jim McDermott, the new ministry is Connect Media Ministries. You can find it at connectmediaministries.org. Thank you so much for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.